Good evening. How everyone doing today? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Reverend James Praise Divine. I'm going to give you a word on tonight, and we're going to talk about, we're still doing Bible study, and we're still in Samuel. We haven't got to Samuel yet, but God's still molding him. God is still training him. He's coming up soon, but right now we're going to talk about the art. We're going to talk about the art. So the glory had departed from Israel, for the art of God had been captured. So now they will try to bring the art of God from the city to city, by God's hand would be heavy on that city. Now they're trying to get rid of the art. They're trying to the Philistines have the art, but they see how the power is working behind it, and it's not good for them. So now they're trying to get rid of it. They're gonna try to get rid of it city by city. God's hand's still gonna be heavy on that city, because that's something they created and they're bowing down to. By it was under the Israelite. The Israelite created that. And by God was saving them and fighting them, they thought that was a good luck charm. A good luck charm. So after the Philistines had captured the ark of God, they took it from Ashdod. So the Philistines had took the ark of God, and they like worshiping many gods. So, that's all they were doing in Philistine. That's why when God told them to possess your land, they had to get the Philistine. They had to get everybody out their land, and they refused. They couldn't get nobody out. That's why they don't even own the land. Because then they let the Philistine, the Canaanites, then everybody took over the land. So the Philistines took the art of God, and they like to worship many gods. That's what they do. So the more gods they could have on their side, the more secure they felt. Now, instead of them feeling secure with God, they feel secure with something they created. They said, Lord, what's their head? That's why most of them was about to cry when they were like, oh, the art when I put out yesterday, oh, the art is gone. It's gone. What we going to do? They was worshiping something they created. They felt safe, when that was around. Instead of them, wants to feel safe with God, they want to feel safe with something they created that can't even help them. But they thought it was helping them because it was for the Israelite, and God was on their side. So they thought while they was defeating people every time, they thought it was the out of God that the Israelite had created, but it wasn't. So they feel secure. They feel secure with this. So that's why they wanted to art, and thinking that if this thing helped the Israelite, it can help us too. That was the Philistines say. If this God, was helping them, because Israel was always defeated, it can help us too. That's what they thought. So there was like acting like they couldn't live without it. So it could help them too. But when the people living nearby began, when they was living nearby, and they began to get sick, you know, so that's when he wants to start to get rid of. People start getting sick. People start dying. Because God's seeing how they worshiping this thing more than God. This thing disappearing, and they're crying and everything else. Don't even know what to do. They just like when they had told Eli, they told him about his two sons died. He still was sitting there. But when they said the offering cat, he flipped backwards and broke his neck. And then his daughter, they just telling him that your father-in-law died, your husband died. She was okay. She was pregnant. But when they said that Arthur was captured and gone, she went into labor. They treat this thing like it was a wild king. And that's how we're supposed to treat God. We're not supposed to treat nothing else like that but God. So then next thing they start getting sick. They start dying. The Philistine realized that the art was not a good luck. See, they treated it like it was a good lucky charm. So they start having the art around other cities. So they thought it was a good lucky charm. So Philistine said they realized that the art was not a good lucky charm no more. It was a source of greater power than they ever had seen. Power they could not control. because, I don't know what they thought. They create something, and thought they can control as power. So now in this scene, they said, man, this thing throwing power under our control. This something I came across. I said, sit still. This thing is still making people sick, they're making people die. So now they realizing, man, we got to get rid of this here. This is something going on that's out of my control. So that's when they start panicking. So the Philistines realized their power was not behind this ark. They thought they had power behind this ark. That's not good people is getting not good people is getting sick. They dying. So then they carried the ark into the dungeon temple and set it beside the dungeon. Now they're trying to move the ark somewhere. Because people getting sick and the people is dying. But at first they thought it was a good luck charm. And see the word gonna get out. See, they thought it was a good luck charm. They all wants to, be constantly wants to worship. At first, when they had to bring the ark by somebody to the city, they was like, okay, that was happy. But now, since the word is getting out, that every time this ark is in their city, people start getting sick, people start dying. So they're trying to pass it on to everyone. They're like, oh no, we don't want this here. You got to get this out of here. So when the people of Ashdod, they rose early in the next day, and there was a dungeon falling on his face on the ground before the altar of the Lord. So they took the dungeon and put him back in his place. They put it back in his place. They're like, they don't want this thing around us. So the following Monday, when they rose, there was a dungeon falling on their face on the ground before the altar of the Lord. They see, they passing it on. His head and hand had been broken off. There was lying on the threshold. Only his body had remained. So they're passing this thing on. And God see they passing it on. So no matter, they're trying to run. They're just like John. When God told him to go preach, to save those people, he tried to run. They're just like Adam and Eve. They ate the apple. They try to run and hide. And God still see them. God said, I fear you. Where y'all at? You cannot run from God. They're trying to take this thing to city to city. God ain't going to be heavy no matter what they take it at. Because they know they're not even supposed to worship that. They're not supposed to worship nothing they created. So they're trying to bring this to someone else, to another city. And when they walk up in it'll be kind of scary. You wake up in the morning, you seeing the head, you seeing the hand, it had been broken off, and it just lying there on the threshold, just under the body remain. I mean, that'll be a scary thing to just wake up and see something like this on the threshold. So the Philistine brought the altar of God to Ashdod and to the house of the dungeon and set it by the dungeon. But when they arose the next day, God had humiliated them. They tried to show off the decoration that they made, and try to bring it somewhere. They know that thing had them get sick and get dying. They didn't tell nobody. They just trying to brush it off. So they brought it over there, and when they woke up in the morning, only thing remained was half of the body. So God had humiliated the idol dragon. God had the head and the hand broken off. Only the body had remained, and it was lying on the threshold. So when they wake up, that's all they saw. Just laying there, just body parts everywhere. So this why to today, the neighbors, the priests, the dungeon, or any other, who entered this dungeon temple, at the Ashdod, never step on the threshold because of this incident. It's just amazing it's just scary for you to just wake up and see that. So ever since that happened, that's all they see in their mind. Parts of body and just only the half of body remain. From that day on, no one stepped foot on that threshold. It's just a reminder. So we see the parts of this all was lying on the threshold. Just all the pieces, the hand, one. one way, the head somewhere else. Just only half of the body had just remained. God did all that while they were asleep. So when they woke up, all this stuff was supposed to lie. So this art in the city of Ashdod, the Lord hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod, and its vanity, and He brought the vaccination, on them and affliction them with trauma. So He afflicted no matter where that art go at. God hand gonna be heavy all over that city. No matter what they bring. They keep on trying to bring it to different cities. Thinking God ain't gonna see it, or God, and God hand is heavy. Whatever you bring that art, so they moved to art, and God hand, was heavy on the people as though. So God put affliction on them with tumors, and no matter what they tries to bring this art, God is against this art that they worship. They be crying over this thing. They feel secure with this thing here. And you're not supposed to feel secure and worship this thing like this. You're supposed to worship honor God. You're supposed to cry and feel secure with God. We're supposed to feel safe with God. Not something that you're going to create. So no matter what you try to bring it to, God is against it. So when the people of Ashdod, saw what was happening, they said the ark of the God of Israel must not stay here. They say it must not stay here. It got to go. You cannot keep this here. We wake up in the morning, all we see is parts of body. What did you think you doing? Why is you going to bring this here with all parts everywhere? This thing cannot stay here. So wherever they keep on bringing this to city, God is against it, and God ain't going to be heavy all over that city. So the Israel must not stay here with us, because His hand is heavy on us and on the dungeon of our God. Long as anyone have this art in their presence, God's hand will be heavy on this city. If God said He is against that, you're not supposed to worship that, He gonna follow whatever city you try to bring that to, and make sure that no one bow down and worship this here thing here, because He gonna have sickness and cancer and everything else on you. So you won't even be able to bend down and worship nothing else. So although the Philistine had just witnessed a great victory by Israel, God over their God dungeon that didn't act upon, their insight until there was afflicted in tongue. So they was worshiping something that they thought was helping the Israelite. And all the while, the real and one true God was helping the Israelite. Not something they created. And that's why God always got to show example. That thing was not saving them. The Israelites have a real powerful God that was saving them. So they didn't realize it until they received pain. When they received affliction from God. Other than that, they was worshiping, and that's how a lot of us be. Today, many of us, we won't believe the truth, or respond until we experience the pain. And that's what the Philistines did. They didn't believe that the Israelites had a real powerful God. They thought it was something that they created, so they didn't believe. They didn't want to believe the truth. They witnessed a whole lot of miracle God did. They thought it come from the thing they created. They didn't want to believe the truth that the Israelites had a real, true God with power that was allowing them to win and defeat every time. Feeding them. Had them cross over that Red Sea. They know all the stuff that they done went to. But they did not want to believe the truth until they start receiving the pain and suffering from the affliction that God had placed on them. So they called together all the rulers. Now the Philistines had 5 rulers. They had 5 rulers, and they asked them, what should we do with this here? This thing not showing us no good luck charm like it used to. This thing making people sick. It making people dying. Nobody else in the city, nobody don't want to keep this thing. what should we do with this city? So they're talking among themselves, trying to figure out what they're gonna do with this. So the Israel moved, they moved together. So they moved to Ark of God of Israel, and the Philistine was governed by 5 rulers. Now, the Philistine had 5 rulers, and all 5 rulers live in different cities. And they're gonna be trying to bring it to all different those cities. And God's hand still gonna be all over that city. You can't run. So each law lived in a different city. Gannett, Ekron, Ashdod, all these cities. The all was taken to all 3 of these capital cities. Now these capital cities and each time, and it brought great trouble and chaos to the citizens. They tried to bring this all to all them capital cities, powerful cities now. And everywhere this all go, is trouble. So this all here is all in pieces. Remember, God took the head off, the arm off. You just got the head of the body. So what they doing? Just put the pieces of this art in bags and just carrying it from city to city. So they're carrying it from city. He have 5 leaders living in 5 different capital cities. And they're taking this off there. And everywhere they're taking this off, it causing trouble and chaos. But after they had moved it, the law hand was against that city. It's against that city. Because they keep on trying to run. Thrown into a great panic. He afflict the people. So now the word is getting out. That this all they're carrying around. That people is getting sick and people is dying. So soon they enter certain people's city, they automatically be like, oh no, we don't want this city. So of the city of both young and old, with an outbreak of tumor. Tumor is cancer. But back then they didn't call it cancer, they called it tumor. So they are still moving this off, they still moving this off. But God is against it. Throwing into great panic, affliction, both young and old. God is putting affliction on young and old. With an outbreak of tumor, now moving the art, God will follow wherever this all go. And God's mighty hand gonna keep on showing his power. To try to stop them, trying to have them to believe that this thing here is not saving you. What was saving the Israelites was a real true God. They didn't want to believe it. So God got to keep on showing. Okay, I'm gonna keep on putting sickness on you. I'm putting sickness on the old and the young. After I get through with y'all gonna believe. See, they don't believe that the Israelite had a real true mighty God. They don't believe that somebody can actually do power and miracles. They don't believe. But now they're receiving a pain and suffering. They treated this thing like it was a good luck charm, but now it's not no good luck charm no more. So they are still moving this art. So they sent the art of God to Ekron. So as the art of God was entering, this city, the people of the city cried out. As soon as the art entered this city, the people just start crying out. They start crying out because see the word start getting out. They have brought the art of God of Israel around to us to kill us and our people. So they saw how, this thing here went to city, were making people sick, making people die. So soon as the city see that breaking in, they be like, oh no. They start crying out. They say, oh no, you trying to kill us and our people. We don't want this thing here. So the word get around quick. Soon as they said the art entering this city, they crying out. They want, you want to kill us and my people. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistine and said, send the art of God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place. And that's how a lot of times you have to do with voodoo and everything. You command that to go back to the center. You command that to go back to the city. You command that to go back to its own owner. So that's what it said. You bring that back to the owner. You bring that back to the place to where it belongs. We don't want it here. So it will kill us and our people. For death had filled the city with panic. You know, God's hand was very heavy on this city. So the people hurry up telling them, you got to move this away from here. You got to move this away from here. So the power of God's hand is heavy everywhere they bring this on. God's power is heavy. And the only reason why his hand is heavy on this city, because he's trying to tell them, do not bow down to other gods. Do not worship other gods. Do not feel like this art, is your secure, your safe zone. You know, God is our safe zone. God is our protector. We supposed to feel safe in God, not create something and think we're safe in that. So the power that they had behind the Israelites, they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it until God had to give them pain. Sometimes some people got to get pain, to believe the Heavenly Father that He exists. Our Heavenly Father is real. He is real. He showed power and miracles. The Philistines saw it, but they still don't believe it. They thought it was something the Israelites created. They thought that something they created, they thought that was showing all the power. That's why they treat it as a good luck charm. They figured the Israelites created this, that's who was giving them power. That's what they thought. So they said bring it back to his own owner, bring it back to his own place, whatever it belongs to, bring it back to it. So those who did not die were afflicted, with torment. In the outcry of the city went up to heaven. So the ones that did not die, but God still put affliction on them. God brought them up to heaven. So growing terror among the Philistines who captured the ark of the covenant, and placed it in their painted temple, after God humiliated them by their God taking all the parts of their body off, so when they woke up in the morning, all they saw on the threshold was just parts of body just laying there. So the outer guard of their God dungeon, the Lord had bring a flash of fear and cancer. And that's what I'm saying. The trauma, all that was cancer. The fear of cancer, everywhere the art is taken. God either was making them sick, and some of them He was having them to die. So He was giving them cancer. And the ones He let survive but still was sick, they had cancer. So this was the story of the art that the Israelites had created. And by God was on their side and always protecting them and providing for them and saving them. Everyone that was their neighbor, or anyone was their neighbor or lived by, they really thought that the defeat that the Israelites always have, they thought it came from this outer God that they created. So God had to show them. Everywhere you bring this art, He put all that sickness on them on purpose so they can see that this thing that y'all keep on thinking on you being safe and secure. Okay, I'm about to start putting sickness on everyone that every time this all goes somewhere else. He did that. So they can see that this thing is not saving y'all. This thing is not no good luck charm. So that's why He followed them everywhere they go to show them that every time you bring this thing to a city, I'm going to cause someone, to be sick with cancer. I'm going to cause someone to be dead. Because if you treating this thing like a good luck charm, you think this saving you. So that's why God did that. Because they thought this art here, they were feeling secure. They were feeling safe. So God had to break that chain. God had to break that chain and show them that this thing, you not feeling secure in this thing, because I'm going to make sure that you don't feel secure in this thing. I'm going to make sure that you want to get rid of it. That's just what God did. That's just what God did. That's why He followed them everywhere they go. To show them that you don't feel safe up in this thing here, this creature here. You don't feel safe with that. God had to break that mindset that they had. They feel safe and secure with this art. And that's why God had to fire them everywhere they go and put that sickness on them and let them know, stop feeling secure with this thing here. This thing here, you're not being safe with this thing here. By nothing that used to happen, and the Israelites were always defeated. They thought that art that they created was their safeguard. So that's why God had to break their mindset. And that's why he had to find them everywhere they go and put sickness on them to let them know you're not safe with this thing. Only person that you're gonna be safe in is the one who's putting that sickness on these people here. We only supposed to feel safe with God. Not nobody else. We supposed to bow down and worship God, not nobody else. And these people here was crying, These people here, you have somebody saying your son is dead, okay. But the artists go, oh, what? So they was worshiping and praising something and putting all their power and energy on something that cannot save them. They did not, the Philistines did not believe that Israelite had a real powerful God. They thought, remember the last time, early on, when God was showing their power, when he was trying to release them from slavery. They'll go get a magic person that do magic because they thought they was doing magic. And that was real power. So they didn't believe. So God had to show them so they can believe, so they can get out their mindset. There are a real powerful God that have power, and they didn't believe. So God had to show them there are, he's a real true God, and then he's on the Philistine side. The Philistine said, I didn't believe that y'all had a real powerful God. And they don't believe until God has stopped putting that pain and suffering on them. So a lot of times, a lot of us like that. You won't believe the truth until that pain hits you. Then you be like, oh, okay, he said that, but I ain't believe it. The storm always come, but this time it struck. I ain't believe it was going to strike. So a lot of times we don't believe the truth when someone tells us. You got to see for yourself, and you got to feel the pain yourself in order for you to believe the truth. So that's all the word I have for you on today. God had to show them an example, because they was worshiping the art that they created, and they thought that was a good lucky charm. They felt safe and secure, with this art, and not knowing that was just something. That's why God had to bring all the pieces of the ball. So they woke up in the morning, the arm gone, the head gone. You got all different parts of body laying up on the threshold, but that's something that you was worshiping. That's something that you feel safe and secure. Now, how you feel safe and secure was something that not even secure. His body parts all on the threshold. So that's all the word I have for you on today. We have only one true mighty God. That's who we supposed to worship. He don't want us worshiping other God. He don't want us to create something and have more safe and secure in something that cannot protect us. God is the only one that we can go to for protection. Just like that thing, they felt secure with that. But then woke up that morning, all the parts of the pizza. Now who saved him? Who saved the ark? They felt secure with this art, but the art wasn't secure. The art body parts was all on the ground. So y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all on the next video.